For some pretext about the situation, the reason I did not know about their kids between 3 and 7 is because me, 29 male, and my sister, 30 female, have literally not spoken in 7 years. Growing up, we couldn't stand each other, and the moment she moved out, all contact broke off. And when I moved out as well a year later, I also broke contact with my parents. But that's a story for another day. Well, to my surprise, a week ago, I got a weird phone call from someone who turned out to be my mother. How she got my number, no idea. She starts telling me my sister lost her job because of everything going on as she worked as a waitress, and tells me I need to let her move in with me because she has nowhere to go. To be clear, I was only asked about my sister, no mention of a husband or kids. I, of course, immediately reject this proposal and tell her she can let her move back in with her if she wants to help. Tell her not to call me again and block the number. I pretty much forgot about that incident during the next few days. My rejection fell on deaf ears apparently, as yesterday morning a large white moving van stopped literally in my driveway. How they found out where I live, again, no clue. And I got woken up by someone banging on my door. I open it up and surprise, surprise, it is a woman I do not recognize, flanked by 2 kids with an adult man and another kid who are starting to take stuff out of the moving van. She asks for help moving her stuff in, and I tell her she has the wrong house, as I have no tenants. Well, she tells me she is my sister and I had to take her and a family in, as I apparently promised to do. In the background, her husband is literally rapidly hauling furniture and boxes out and putting it down in my front yard. I tell her to get the living F word out of here, and if they are not gone in the next 5 minutes, I'm calling the cops for trespassing and slam the door. Well, I look out my window, hear some yelling, my sister starts crying. They haul their stuff back in and off they go. Here's the thing, I did not expect I would feel bad, but I do. Last I heard, my sister has never done well financially, and she obviously has nowhere to go if she feels the need to come to me of all people. Meanwhile, I own a large house that I bought for when me and my deceased wife had kids. We never did. She had a car accident last year. And, well, yeah, got a great job and I could easily house them and feed them, and it wouldn't even make that big of a dent in my finances. Also, here is the kicker. I know my wife would have taken them in, especially considering there are kids involved, who are now probably homeless. She was always the better person between the 2 of us, so I am very conflicted. Edit. I was woken up by the knocking on my door. My vision was pretty blurry when I just woke up, and I figured I would have eventually recognized her given enough time. That said, from memory, my sister was always physically fit, healthy looking, attractive, fashionable, took good care of herself, used makeup, did her hair all fancy. Just in general, she looked nice. Yet it seemed like the past 7 years took a big toll on her, as it seems she aged 20 years the past 7 years. She looked unhealthy, tired, gained a considerable amount of weight, sickly looking, looks like she doesn't take care of her appearance, messy hair, sloppy clothes. Not to talk down on her, but to give an explanation like I said, she looked considerably different from what I remember. My mom might have lied to them, wouldn't put it past them, or they hoped that them showing up like that would force me in such an awkward position where I had to relent. From what I know, losing their jobs was also not their fault. My sister has always worked, so she is not lazy. But then again, I haven't seen her in 7 years, so how would I know? OP, it's natural to feel guilt in a situation like this, especially when there are kids involved. But I think you are not the a-hole. You don't need to let essentially a complete stranger and their family move into your house. What is she like? What are her children like? You have no idea. Are they actually going to respect your house and your rules and not break and trash everything in your house? You can't just completely cut ties and ignore someone's existence and then expect them to let you use them when you have nowhere else to go. If you do want to help them, you could find a way to get through to your sister and offer them money to get a place for like a month and that's it. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Your estranged mom is the a-hole though. Sorry this was dropped on you. You can always let them back. Make sure you place strict rules and boundaries on them. Make them sign a lease agreement as well, even if you are not charging them. If this is how they propose to move into your place, you can bet they aren't going to respect any rules you put into place orally. Don't let them move in. It will be a never-ending headache and you don't even know what their family dynamics are, how well behaved their children are, what their habits are, where they are going to find work and when. Consider this. Construction and trades are still booming during COVID. Why hasn't your brother-in-law found himself the smallest of labor jobs? If you want to help them, give them some money so they can find a place to stay for a couple of months. That way you have no obligations for their well-being in future. Your mother is 100% the reason why they showed up. She likely withheld information about her husband and kids because she was trying to finesse a yes from you without all the information. I think the only asses here is your mom for doing such a thing. Maybe your sister has changed in 7 years. You'll never know. But you are not obligated to house and provide for 4 people, 3 of which you weren't aware of, just because your mom lied to you and your sister. You're not the a-hole. I don't think your sister is an a-hole either, because your mom likely lied to her. Your mother is, however, 100% the a-hole here. Story 2. Long story short, my mom and dad are temporarily staying with myself and my fiancé in our house. They've been here 3 weeks already and will be here 3 more. I wasn't sure about moving them in because my parents, mom especially, have been a bit funny about my relationship. We're both women. My fiancée said that she was fine with them staying and that being around us might actually get them more comfortable with it. On coming in, mom and dad gave us the whole, "Don't worry, we won't intrude, you won't even notice us." And predictably, within 24 hours, we were acutely aware of their presence. They react to everything we do with a comment or them pulling a face or something. They once told us to save it for the bedroom when we kissed, and were told to put the bedroom eyes away when we just looked at each other. They're good about knocking when we're in our room, but communal areas are presenting a serious issue. Then tonight, while I was cooking dinner, my fiancée came into the kitchen. I asked her to set the table, and as she walked past me, she touched my arse, and Mom saw. At dinner, Mom said we needed to have a talk, and went on to say that she saw the PDA, and she would appreciate a little more discretion, and then basically went into a longer version of save it for the bedroom, but this time adding that we're stuck together. So let's try and make it comfortable for everyone and presented it as a hygiene issue because we were in the kitchen. This really pissed me off. Honestly, it pissed me off for 3 weeks now. This was probably just where I hit boiling point, but to be actually sat down and given a talking to about PDA with my fiancé in our own home at 28 years old would probably make most people hit boiling point. I said that this is our home and we should be able to express affection, especially as we're doing them a favor letting them stay with us. So not only will we not go out of our way to make them more comfortable, but we're going back to our regular PDA levels starting now. Mom said that this was the opposite of what she was going into the conversation, and she feels that I'm being immature by saying we would go heavier on the PDA from now on, and said, "We're still your parents, young lady." I responded, "And this is my house, my roof, my rules." Mom then got up and stormed into the guest room and said she won't come out until I apologize. My fiancé is happy I said something, and I admitted I should have said a lot sooner. But Dad is pushing me to apologize, not for the rest of it, but specifically for the use of my roof, my rules, as Mom used that on me constantly as a kid, and feels I'm throwing that back in her face. But Dad is being otherwise reasonable and says she shouldn't have talked to me like that. It's just that one phrase has really upset Mom. Am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole, OP, and if your mom doesn't want you saying your house, your rules, then she shouldn't have tried to give you rules about how you act with your fiancé in your own home. It's your home. You're going to be open about displaying affection for each other. From the looks of it, it doesn't even sound like you and your fiancé took it to the extreme or anything. And yet your mom still wanted you to dial it down? It's your house, not hers. So she doesn't get to make that rule. I'm glad you stood up for your fiancé. You don't owe your mom any apology. Now for some comments. You are absolutely not the a-hole here. A. Your parents likely wouldn't have made those comments if you were in a hetero relationship. B. That's likely a line she has used on you many times. If she doesn't like being treated the way she treated you, that's actually extremely telling. C. You are an adult. Her being your mother does not mean she has authority over you in your own home. Not the a-hole. I got this phrase a lot as a kid too, and hated it. Not because I disagreed in principle, but it was a way for them to shut down the discussion without hearing me out. I swore I would not do that to my kids, and so far haven't. I absolutely lay down arbitrary rules and try to explain why. For example, no food in this room because there's carpet, and you are prone to spill things and I'm tired of finding spoons in the couch cushions. But I try hard to hear them out and acknowledge their concerns and viewpoint. And very, very occasionally, I will adjust the rules accordingly if they make a good argument. My thoughts are that this will help them more later on than just saying, my roof, my rules. Not the a-hole. It is your house, your rules. The types of PDA you described are so mild and tame. It's ridiculous for others to be upset over it. Especially in your own home. You're in a loving relationship. You're going to touch, hold hands, make goo-goo eyes at each other. My fiancé touches my butt all the time. Not even in a sexual manner most of the time. He just likes to touch my butt when he walks past me. Maybe your mother is homophobic and doesn't want to see you showing affection to another woman. But I also have a sneaking suspicion that mom was more upset about her daughter standing up for herself. With an ironclad rebuttal. Your house, your rules. Story 3. My 21 females, mom 53, met my dad 54 in college. My dad comes from old family money, but my mom's family was very middle class. But when my sister, 24, and I were growing up, my mom acted like she had always been upper class, and is very snobbish. I remember how we would go to dinner with her siblings and she would insist on choosing the restaurant to make sure it was up to her standards, make a big show of paying the bill, and then would shit-talk her siblings and their spouses or kids the whole way home, making fun of their clothes, cars, jobs, you name it. She has always placed importance on whoever was wealthiest or had the best family, and wouldn't let my sister and I hang out with kids after school who weren't up to her standards. It's made our relationship a little strained, especially since she obsesses about these things today. But she's my mom and I love her. Anyways, due to COVID, I'm staying with my parents since my college sent everybody home. My sister is living in another state, but we have family Zoom calls once a week. On one of the early Zoom calls, my sister told us that she had a new boyfriend, and they ended up moving in together for quarantine. My sister has her own apartment, which my parents pay for partially. They go to the same law school, and he seemed very sweet when we talked to him. My mom started with a parents' childhood plans line of questioning. He told her that he had gotten a scholarship for law school since his dad was a construction worker, and his mom was a preschool teacher, and that he grew up in a small town. My mom was super chilly to him after this, and afterwards went on a rant about how he wasn't good enough for sister, and how he just wants her money after all. My dad and I thought she would stop, but she did this every single time. Super cold to a perfectly nice guy and ranting and talking trash about him afterwards. She did the whole thing again after our most recent call, and I was pretty fed up. I asked her to stop saying that stuff, and she said it was the truth, that he was a gold digger. I asked her how she was different from him since she grew up a lot like him, and asked if she just wanted dad's money after all. She got super upset with me and didn't tell me to get out or anything. But she's been sort of ignoring me since then and makes passive-aggressive comments or mentioning how she's been crying. My dad talked to me after dinner and said that I really hurt her feelings, and she just wants to make sure my sister ends up with a good guy, even if she doesn't seem like it. He said that she was just trying to be a good mom and I upset her. I feel really bad. She can be annoying at times, but she is my mom, and I don't want to hurt her. Am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Someone in your immediate family, probably your dad, should have stopped enabling her shitty behavior from the get-go. Even you and your sister should call out your mama's behavior. While we love our parents, they aren't perfect and shouldn't be immune from being called out when being horrible. Being a good person doesn't become obsolete just because you're old. Not the a-hole. Your mom sounds insufferable. Holy crap. You know her behavior is neither normal nor okay, right? It's astronomically judgmental and out of touch. You have to stand up for your sister and a boyfriend. She can't give in to people like this. If she wants to swan around pretending she's so much better than everyone else because she's rich and never expects to be called out on that crappy attitude, then she's deluded and is way overdue for a wake-up call. Your happiness will suffer if you let her dictate who you do and do not befriend, date, or talk to. Not the a-hole, obviously. I think you should talk to your dad. From experience, her behavior is only going to get worse. And without your dad stepping in to support you, your sister, and a boyfriend, your mom is only going to see it as you against her and won't change. It seems like your dad is aware of the behavior but doesn't want to rock the boat. Maybe talking to him might change that. Also, make sure that you tell your sister you support her and the relationship, and so does your dad. You saying it out loud is going to make her feel so much better if she picked up on your mom's cold manner. Good luck.